Hey folks, we're working our way through the Horizon expansions and now we're going to be taking a look at the Frozen Wilds expansion. So this one is actually the last of the major expansions for the Horizon board game, and then after this we have just the large boss expansions as well as the Kickstarter exclusive one. But for now, let's take a look at the Frozen Wilds. So the Frozen Wilds was actually a DLC area for the base game of Horizon Zero Dawn, the PS4 game that is, and it involved the Banuk tribe. So it's pretty cool to have the Frozen Wilds as its own expansion for the board game as well. And as you can see, core game required as usual. Let's have a look at the back. So it says the Frozen Wilds is an expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game, set in the hinterland of the Cut. Sorry, the Cut, not the Cot. Discover the unorthodox approach of the Banuk Shaman and Banuk Veteran, and adapt to the conditions of this near inhospitable land with powerful new equipment crafted by Banur's talented merchants. So I don't remember much about the Banuk. It's been a while since I played the PS4 game, but they were definitely one of the more interesting tribes. You can see we have two new characters to play as there, and there's two new machines, which I think is the only expansion that only includes two machines. They range between 2 and 4. But these are pretty big machines and pretty cool ones. And of course, we've got a bunch of tiles and cards as well. So let's open it up and take a look. All right, let's take away the instruction manual. And underneath that, we have our new tiles. Now, being the Frozen Wilds, we have frozen tiles, which is pretty cool. So you see snowy paths and stuff, which looks really awesome. So you get 6 tiles like this. I don't know what the green thing is there. I'm guessing that's like a Banuk territory area. It's pretty cool. So yeah, nice to see some snowy area. Would make your campaign a bit more interesting than just the usual desert and grass. Oh, it's kind of icy. Cool. So those are 6 new tiles. And then inside here, you can see they kind of phoned it in a little bit with this expansion. Like usually you would have the whole thing taken up by miniatures and then only have one section for the cards. But in this one, you've got a whole dip just for these cards and one for those cards, and then just the machines and stuff up there. A little bit disappointing. They probably could have included some more machines, but it is what it is. So let's start with the characters. So here is the Banuk Shaman, pretty cool. So they're kind of like a priest type person, and they've got a pretty interesting playstyle. We definitely played a game with the Banuk Shaman, and it was pretty interesting. So we'll have a look at their cards in a little bit. And then we have a Banuk Veteran as the other playable character. You can see them here holding a spear, looking pretty cool. Moving on to the machines, so we have the Scorcher here. So the Scorcher was exclusive to the Frozen Wilds DLC in the PS4 game as well, so it makes sense for them to be here. So they are pretty cool, as the name suggests. They have flamethrowers on them, so they could be pretty menacing. It does make it interesting that you've got sort of like fiery enemies in the snowy area, but it is what it is. So that is the Scorcher, and we get 2 of these. And then the other machine is the Frostclaw. So this is a pretty awesome looking miniature actually, but it's not particularly to scale. The DLC included Frostclaws and Fireclaws, and there is a Fireclaw large boss expansion, which we'll be taking a look at in a future video. And I don't believe the Frostclaws are meant to be smaller than the Fireclaws, and if they are, they're certainly not meant to be this small. Like, this just seems way too small. But I think these are meant to be based on bears, so this would probably be like a grizzly bear or something. So pretty cool, and we get 2 of those. Right, and then all that's left is to look at the cards, so let's do that. So we have to start off with the Scorcher. So we've got their information, the power generator, blaze canisters, and the mine launchers. Then we have the Frostclaw himself, the big boy. So you can see he's got 30 HP, so he's pretty beefy, despite the relatively small stature. Freeze unit, power cells, and freeze sacks. And then interestingly, with this expansion, we also get demonic versions of the regular creatures, which I think is what happened in the DLC as well, so that's probably why they're here. So we have the Demonic Watcher, the Demonic Scrapper, and the Demonic Shellwalker. So of course these would be to be used with the core game, but then you need the core game to play any of these expansions anyway. So pretty interesting. It's nice to at least have a spin on some original machines. Time for the rest of the cards. Here we have the Banuk Shaman to start off with. Their ability is Communion. Before drawing cards at the start of this hunter's activation, look at their action deck's top 2 cards. Return each card to either the top or the bottom of their action deck. So I think the point of the Shaman is they're meant to be using mysticism and stuff like that in order to interrupt how the game usually plays. So that's pretty interesting. You can see they've got Ice Hunter Light. They have an Ice Rail weapon, as a top weapon, which is pretty cool. And they have a spear, of course. Down here we have ammunition for their ice rails. So you can see we've got the ice thrower over here. I think it's for the ice rail. Yeah, you can see the symbols match. Got some abilities over here. Ice cannon, ice thrower we've already seen. And then down here we got some of their level up stuff as well. So they can do some pretty interesting things, the Ice Shaman. I'm not going to go through all of their cards. Let's have a look at this one here. Choose another hunter to gain an additional action during their next activation. This hunter gains 2 glory points, then scrap this card. So it's interesting. It's quite a weird way of playing the game, but it did make it quite a lot of fun playing with the Shaman, so pretty cool. Next is a Banuk Veteran. So I think this is a more standard sort of hunter character. So it says battle hardened, stamina cards do not count towards this hunter's hand size. Very good. So I think I mentioned in the base game unboxing that stamina cards had some use for abilities in some of the expansions, and I believe this is the character that I was thinking of. So you can see they have a hunter bow and a spear. Nothing particularly fancy, but you can see when this hunter performs an attack, they may discard a stamina card to re-roll their attack. This hunter may start an encounter in any square that does not contain an enemy. There's more stuff around stamina cards, so they can do quite a lot of cool things. When this hunter suffers damage, they may discard a stamina card to reduce damage by 2. So basically this character relies on stamina quite heavily. So this is why I think this expansion comes with more stamina cards to put in the main deck. I might have already put them in the core game. But yeah, so basically they rely on stamina, so it's a pretty interesting take on the game. Next are the behavior cards. So starting off, we have the Scorcher. I assume we have multiples. Yeah, 4, 5. 5 cards for the Scorcher. Then for the Frostclaw, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. And then we also have some behavior cards for the Demonic Machine. So we have the Demonic Scrapper. The Demonic Shellwalker has 3 cards, and then we have the Demonic Watcher as well. Underneath that, we have the maps, of course. So we have B this time for Banuk, I can assume. So you can see this level actually just has Demonic Scrappers. This one has Demonic Watchers and Demonic Scrappers. So it's not all just using the new machines. This one's even got some Grazers over here, some Chargers. Then that one's got a Scorcher. So moving on, we do get some of the new machines in here. And Scorcher, Scorcher, and then finally the Hunter's Call with the Frostclaw, I think that must be. So pretty cool. Finally, as always, new cards for the Merchant. So we have the Banuk Werak Runner, Precision Arrows, Banuk Werak Chieftain, Resist Freeze Weaves, which, you know, makes sense given what set we're in. Then we also have the Champion Bow and Power Shot Bow, both really good items to have. So that is the Frozen Wilds expansion. I think that the tiles are interesting, and you do have some new interesting mechanics with the new demonic machines, etc. But this probably is one of the weaker expansions. It is good because the tiles are all snowy, so it's a bit more variety. But I guess in terms of actual gameplay variety, not a huge deal in this one compared to some of the others. Mostly when we're just looking at the amount of content you get, as these expansions generally trend around the same amount of money. But I think the Frozen Wild ones I could only pick up from Steamforged themselves, which meant I was paying full retail price rather than getting it from Amazon or something like that where I can get it for cheaper. So just bear that in mind if you're looking to pick this one up. But if you're like me and you've got to catch them all, then you're going to need this one anyway. Thanks very much for watching. Next time we'll be taking a look at one of the big machine boss expansions. There's 4 of those to go through, so we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.